Well, because nobody knows. Okay, if somebody walked in, you were power posing, they would, might be like, all right, that's kind of strange. But I mean, the visualization, nobody knows that you're doing it, right? You can do it for a few minutes, you can do it for a longer period of time, you can just do it for 30 seconds, and you can be, I mean, probably sitting versus walking is better, but right, like I could just be sitting at my desk preparing to go into that meeting room, for example, and nobody's gonna know. So I think it's a really easy tool to use that doesn't need to feel awkward or make you look awkward, because it's just you in that moment.
This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, where we explore how to forge mental toughness and resilience in every aspect of life. Welcome, I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann. I'm an ICF certified professional coach with a background as a teacher, basketball coach, and athletic director. But my journey took a dramatic turn in 2020 when I survived both cancer and a stroke. Those experiences shaped my mission, help others grow stronger in every facet of life. Today, I work with athletes, coaches, educators, and anyone who believes that positive mental health is both achievable and a personal responsibility. This podcast is dedicated to helping listeners develop a positive version of toughness, one rooted in resilience, focus, and growth. Whether you're looking to excel on the field, in the classroom, or in life, this is your space to learn, grow, and take action. Join me on this journey, and together, let's forge your mettle. Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Thomann, at Mental Mettle Coaching. Welcome back, Metalheads. It is Coach Matt Thomann here on the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm going to start. There's a video, if you haven't seen it, it's all over, TikTok or all these Facebook and all those things. But I think it's from a Netflix documentary on the Blue Angels. Blue Angels are the Navy pilots that, based out of Pensacola, Florida, do these crazy maneuvers that are just very intricate, very precise. And the video I like, and of course I love watching them, actually fly. And if you've never had a chance to see them in person, it's absolutely phenomenal. But the video I like is about them rehearsing it and using visualization to rehearse the maneuvers, because again, these guys fly these jets just so precise and so close that you can't make a mistake. It's just not okay to make a mistake in the practice, because it means probably death and losses of millions of dollars, and you just can't make a mistake. So they do a lot of visualization in their rehearsal, and it is really cool to watch, because I go around the table and the captain is talking about what they want to do. They got their hands on their throttle, their stick, or whatever it is. I don't know enough about flying a jet, obviously, but you can see them all thinking and moving when the captain says something, and they just go through this, and it's there for a few reasons. One, to get the mental reps without the physical reps, to really help them, and it's also to ease some anxiety and stress management as they need to do this task really, really well. And it's really easy to watch this, and it's really easy to see why they're talking about it, because it's like, again, it's this high stress situation. And of course, when we watch it, we go, oh, yeah, of course they should be doing that, because, again, you can't make a mistake. This is high stress. So something like this, it makes sense to do visualization. But I think that we don't apply it further to ourselves, probably because we think what we do doesn't matter. And I say we as in coaches, parents, or the athletes that we coach, or the athletes that might be listening. We think, well, my stuff isn't as important as flying Blue Angels, and maybe it's not as stressful, and it's maybe not as catastrophic if I make mistakes. Absolutely true. It's not. Nothing we do, there's no game we're playing that is probably that stressful as flying a Blue Angel, as those guys do. But that doesn't mean it's not useful, right? So I think that we should be able to take things from what they do and apply it to our own life. And that is the topic for the monthly Mettle Challenge for the month of August. Now, if you don't know what the monthly Mettle Challenge is, it's something I've done every month. I skipped last month. I was doing some other things, but I've done so far every month. The goal is to try out different tactics for mental health, practice them, put them into place. I'm putting them into my life and talking to my listeners about it, and my wife does it with me, and just doing these things and seeing the benefits and seeing how it goes, and see how it helps me in my life, and hopefully helping others to do it as well. So far in the month of year of 2025, I did a month of gratitude, really a lot of gratitude letters, writing gratitudes at the end of the day, just really into gratitude. That's something that I've continued to do on a smaller level, but I still do it. I did a month where I leaned into my faith, did a lot of Bible reading, a lot of prayer, just really did better on my faith, and I really did well. That was February. And since then, I have increased the amount of time I'm spending in the Word and praying. I'm glad I'm doing this podcast today, because it's something that I've slowed a little bit, and I really enjoyed it when I did it. So that's something I'm going to up a little bit. I did a month on fasting. I started with I think a 72-hour fast, or maybe it was a 48-hour fast. And then I did 16-8 the entire month, and I fasted from alcohol, sugar, things like that. And that went exceptionally well, so well that I still do the 16-8 fast almost every day. That really helps me. I feel like it. In fact, I now plan all of my really thoughtful work, my creative work, when I'm writing, doing podcasting, things like now, all these things that I do while I'm fasting. I make sure and do that in the morning before I do all this. I just find that it really clears my head, and it really helps me. And it's also helped me physically as well, helped me lose a little weight, feel really good. So I like that. The digital detox. I did a digital detox for a month where I put the phone upstairs, never brought it downstairs with me while I was working in my office. That one slipped a little bit. I really liked it when I did it, but it's slipping a bit. That's a really tough one. It's something that I need to revisit. So I'm glad I'm doing this, because it makes me come back to it. I did a month where I did a lot of sauna followed by an ice bath. I really enjoyed that one. The sauna has stuck more than the ice bath. I still like the ice bath, but the sauna has stuck a little bit. That's a good place to go in and think, and I like that one. And then I did a month of yoga, and it wasn't much, just 10 minutes every night and stretching, and that got to be really fun. My wife really enjoyed that. And my son Lane was home, and we ended up doing it every night, 10 minutes of yoga. Instead, in the middle of TV time, kind of everybody chilling out, and we would just stop the TV, go outside, and do 10 minutes of yoga. And that was a really good stress relief, and also helps you with the body and all sorts of things. Really enjoy that. And I'm still doing a little bit of that. Again, it's another one I need to get back on it. But it's hard whenever you're trying to do all these things, and you have to be very intentional with your time and what you're doing, but that's what I'm about. That's what I'm trying to do. But this month, I'm going to talk about visualization. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I want to change how I'm using visualization and do some things differently. But I'm going to be honest with you. I do a lot of visualization already. I think it is a fantastic tool, and it's something I'm going to try to convince you about or on here coming up a little bit. And it's something I work with my athletes, my clientele base. It is a tool that I think it is very underutilized in the field of sports, just like, the way we see the Blue Angels do it. There's no reason we can't do that for so many of the sports that we do. So a few of the things, there's a lot of scientific things behind a visualization that are really, really good. So first and foremost, it whenever you sit down and do visualization, in case maybe I need to explain what I mean by visualization. Visualization is it's kind of like meditation, but it's you sitting down, closing your eyes, kind of relaxing and going through a series of steps of something you want to do or a way you want to feel or a way you want to succeed. And there's a couple different levels on how you can do visualization, but that's basically it. And I think most people know what that is, but that's what visualization is. Some of the things that visualization does, and these are all the scientific stuff behind it. You know how I am about science. I love it. So the first thing that I would say that visualization does is it activates neurons in the right way. So it activates the brain in the same way that physical execution of doing a task is. So you're effectively practicing the task. What I like to say about visualization, I don't know where I stole this from, but it's all the books and podcasts and stuff. It is that your brain doesn't know the difference between you doing it and thinking you're doing it. Your body does on some level, but your brain doesn't know the difference. So the fact of you doing something without practicing it is really useful. So when we think about the Blue Angels, they do it, they get practice doing it without the risk. This is something I do all the time. It is quite common for me to go to a jiu-jitsu class, learn a new move, and then I'll spend 5 to 10 minutes at night before I go to bed visualizing myself doing that move that I learned that day. And I find it really helps me remember that move of the day, what I learned in class that day, and it gives me another rep on it. And then the more we practice something, the better we get at it. And I think it really works well for jiu-jitsu because it gives me the opportunity to practice something without doing the physical, because the physical act of jiu-jitsu can be tough. It's hard on your body. So it can be. So I think it gives me the ability to do that. It also, I talk about neuroplasticity all the time. It's increasing my brain. It's increasing my brain's ability to make more connections. It's just that cognitive function. So the more you practice that on neural activation means my neuroplasticity gets better. So I'm better at gaining new tasks by practicing visualization. It also helps a little bit with the muscle memory as well, which is, again, something I do for jiu-jitsu, the Blue Angels do, or about any sport you want. If I've already got a little bit of the muscle memory, it reinforces those motor patterns. The one I love to talk about this is free throws. And the athletes that I work with, the players that I work with, that I think that visualization is really good because for like free throws, because most kids know their muscle memory for free throws, but you can only shoot so many free throws, but a kid can actually go lay down and run through their free throw routine, and it will actually solidify that routine and that neural activation and actually make them get better at shooting free throws, because again, your brain doesn't know the difference. And actually there's a real good there's a lot of good books out there, but there's a lot of research that shows that when you're activating your brain about a muscle memory, it's actually like you're not even trying to do it, but it's actually activating the muscles that you will need for that. And it helps with precise actions. I've worked with athletes doing free throws. I do this with the golfers that I work with, because golf is so much about muscle memory and getting that we can get that golf swing and get practice at it without practicing it. It's really good. And the other thing it helps with the psychological benefits. So this was really cool. The more we do something, the more confidence we get at it. So not only can you sit and shoot 100 free throws at night in your mind and get better at those, if you want, you can go 100 for 100. And that's something you probably are not going to do in the gym, actually shooting the free throws. So you can actually boost confidence by not shooting free throws. It's absolutely amazing. You can, and I tell them to do that when they're shooting the free throws. Don't just do the visualization of shooting the free throw. Actually see it go in and watch it go in, and you can do that over and over again. And it's an extremely useful tool. I love that part of it. I've worked with so many different athletes on this. I've done it with my nephew Casey Thomann. There's a podcast I talked to him about it. We did that with shot put. I've done it with a couple kids about shot put. I've done it with racers. I've worked with several athletes that run track, and they really like it for not so much for the actions in the race, but they love it for the reducing anxiety and boosting confidence about getting there in the moment. And it's not so much the action that they're visualizing, but it's their preparation, how they're going to feel as they put their shoes on, how they're going to feel as they get into the starting blocks, how they're going to feel getting ready, all those things. And it really helps, enhances that focus and boosts that confidence. Really great tools. Some of the other things that visualization is good for, it really helps an athlete or a person be more prepared for unpredictable scenarios, because you've got that neuroplasticity, you've got that muscle memory, you've locked those in a little bit, and you're more willing, more able to change whenever things happen, which is they tend to do. The other thing it helps you force known setbacks that you know are going to come, right? Like, oh, I know that this is going to happen at some point. I'm going to struggle at this. They're going to, or, a team is going to, if we get ahead, in the fourth quarter, they're going to press, and we know that's coming. How am I going to handle that? How am I going to respond to that? Not just physically, but mentally. How am I going to respond to that? My first experience with that was I was working with my therapist after my stroke, and I was coming back, and I was having a lot of anxiety in coming back to school, because I was coming the day, I was at some point I was going to come back to school, but I had lost a lot. I had gained some of my ability to speak back by then, but I had lost my ability to speak clearly and communicate well. But I wanted to come back and see everybody and let them know I was doing okay. But I also knew how people were going to respond when I came in, because they knew that this had happened. And people are great. The people I worked with were great. They were good people. They wanted it, but I knew how they were going to respond to seeing me. A little bit of that pity, and maybe even acting like, like speaking slower and calm and things that I was not going to want, like, because they didn't really understand what was going on. My only problem was I could hear you. I could think. I just struggled to speak and verbalize. And Tammy, my therapist, told me, if you know that's going to happen, prepare yourself, visualize your response, visualize how you're going to react, how you're going to look, how you're going to feel, and what you're going to say. And I would do that. For the week before I went in, I would sit down and I would visualize how I was going to talk to different people as they showed up, because I knew how they would respond and how I wanted to act. And it went exceptionally well, to the point that it really sold me on how to do visualization, just because it just relieved so much anxiety. And I've worked with athletes on doing this. Like when we do a visualization, a lot of athletes I work with, the visualizations can start from the moment they leave their house, how they're going to get on the bus, how they're going to have all their stuff, for them to be prepared and ready to go. It can really be helpful for that. Just anything that you might be anxious about, performance, how you're going to do, how you're going to feel, you can put those ideas in your mind and start to visualize them. And that is just an unbelievably useful tool. There's all kinds of research in which they've done this with athletes, and they see it. I've got a few pieces here. Magazine Frontiers in Psychology, they did a test and said basically there's a very positive link between imagery ability, so an athlete's ability to image something and visualize something, and athletic performance. So the better they could visualize it, the more they gained that athletic performance, which is fantastic. Another review showed the same thing, that if you can excel in imagery, you can perform better. And whether or not you can perform in imagery or visualization, that's a skill. You can get better at it. It can be hard to do at first. It can feel odd, can feel strange. But the more you practice it, the better you get at it. Texas State did out a study. There was a long thesis that basically said what I said, that the consistent benefits of visualizations are just off the charts, and it is way underused in sports. It is not used anywhere close like it should be. Every sport should be doing some visualization. There was another study, Alan Richardson's basketball study did one, and that's when I got some of the stuff from the basketball that basically said they demonstrated significant skill improvement through visualization without physical practice. You can get better at basketball without practicing, and you can do it by visualization. That feels like a cheat code, and that is what I'm talking about when people say we should all be using it. It is a no-brainer. The more that you look into this, there's some really cool quotes in there. Wayne Rooney, who's a famous English soccer player, he talks about how he lies in bed at night before a game and visualizes himself scoring goals and doing well. This is like a professional athlete. His paycheck is based on it, and he does it. And that's just fantastic. There's a Callie Werner is a former athlete. She's a famous mindset coach, and she talks about how when you visualize something, the same neural pathways are engaged in the brain as when you actually perform the action. So again, it is the same neurons are being engaged. Okay. Another guy, Bo Bennett, talks about this stuff, and he talks how visualization is daydreaming with a purpose. And I like that, because people visualize and they daydream. Now that's really important here, because we all tend to daydream. But if we don't do it on purpose, if we're not doing visualization on purpose, a kid with a negative mindset and a big imagination and the ability to already do this imagery, right? If they're not focusing that daydreaming, if they're not focusing that visualization, it can tend to go negative. So they can worry about how things are going to go poorly. Well, if this happens, then this bad's going to happen, or this bad's going to happen. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if I miss this, or I strike out, or I do this? You are also engaging the same pathways as when you perform, but you're engaging negative pathways. I talk about neuroplasticity all the time, that neuroplasticity is not a choice. It is going to happen. Like you are reinforcing a good pathway or a bad pathway. And if you aren't controlling it and making it a good pathway, our negative pathway tends to want to take control. Okay. It's just something we ought to be doing. There's a lot of pro athletes. I know Michael Phelps was well known for doing his visualization of his races. He would do it. Just a lot of some tennis players do it. Novak Djokovic does it. Serena Williams, they all do all sorts of visualization. And it's a really helpful tool. Again, I've used it so many times, all the time, not just when I know I do it for the jiu-jitsu when I'm doing a new move that I just do every night just to reinforce it. But I also do it when I do compete. It's we call it, my instructor now talks about having your A game, and when you compete and knowing this is what I want to have happen. And, and of course the whole prize fighting saying is that everybody's got a plan until they get hit. And I get that, but you need to at least have a plan and something you want to do, and you want to have a plan and having that A game and ready to go. Cause it does work sometimes. It really does. I've done that. It's worked. I know when I want to come into a match and I want to come out, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to make this move. And when I get to here, I'm going to do this. And you might have a couple things that you want to visualize if they do this or if that, or when it goes sideways, you're like, well, I have a tendency to let people do this. And when this happens, what am I going to do? And it can also be like visualizing when you know you're going to make a mistake, which we do. Oh, if I strike out, how am I going to respond? If I fumble, how am I going to respond? There's so many good uses for visualization. I don't think there's a bad way to do it. I think there's good ways. There's better ways to do it. I think that it can be something you can do by yourself. It can be done with a coach, but I think just the only way you can do it wrong is just not doing it or allowing yourself to do it negatively. There's just so many uses for the visualization. Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport, and they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set. Coaches, parents, players, it should be something we all do. Speaking of that, we're going to get away from athletics here now, and I'm going to jump into something I do on every of my monthly Mettle challenges. I talk to my wife, Dana. Dana is a pretty busy executive, and she has done every one of these challenges with me, but she just has a little less time than everybody, and or than I do, not than everybody, but she has less time than I do to do this. And so we call this segment Dana's Mettle in Minutes, all because she's trying to employ some of these tactics and to fit her busy schedule. And we're going to talk to Dana a little bit more than usual on this one because Dana loves visualization. It's one of her favorite things. Since she started doing it, she loves it. And she's also going to show you how she's going to start to apply it to her life a little bit more. So here we go. Hi, Dana.
Hi, Matthew.
It's unfortunate you're usually right here beside me recording, but you are, I don't know how many thousand miles away right now.
I know.
It's
3?
a lot,
I
huh?
don't
3,000 somewhere in there. Yeah,
think
yeah.
so.
So you're a little ways away, but that's okay. I figured with technology, there's no reason not for us to do Dana's Mettle in Minutes. So maybe it's even a
Maybe.
better discussion on being able to use that and why we should use it and you are busy, but you can still do this stuff. So it's useful.
It is. Agreed.
So the topic is, and when I mentioned to you what I wanted to do for this topic, you said that this is one of your favorites, things that you've learned from the stuff that I do, and I agree. So when we talk about visualization and using visualization, I mean, obviously with the monthly Mettle challenge, it's about how to implement it better or different. But I think let's talk for a minute about how you already use it and how you've used it. I want to say in the past, but it's probably just been in the last year or two, right?
It has. So I would say my first introduction was very specific to power posing. So I was working with an executive coach, preparing for some interviews. I was actually just working with her, as good practice, gaining a lot of tools and tips. But it was during the time when I was beginning to interview for a new position, and she talked to me about power posing, sent me a YouTube video on power posing and just the benefits that it can bring. So I put that into practice at home, kind of in the bathroom in privacy, but started to use that as I just gained more confidence and wanted to go into those interviews just with, a little bit more belief in my capabilities, and so utilize that, and then through what you
Well, I
do.
think that it's worth commenting here because we might feel like we've gone into a different direction when we talk about power posing and visualization. But
Yeah.
what the connection there is that power posing is visualizing, like feeling, looking, and acting confident, and that is a lot of visualization because you're trying to engage those neural pathways of confidence and seeing yourself in that way and seeing that you can stand in that way and act in that way and be that way, and that is very much visualization.
Yeah, it was interesting, right? Because I've learned from you since then how to do different types of visualization, but it definitely was the power posing definitely was about like taking up space and being good with the space I was taking up, right? Like I you could feel more of a purpose, or like I wanted my presence to be seen and felt, right? And so I hadn't really thought about that, but it's really cool exercise, a good tip to know and have handy. Again, I think it has for me, it has a purpose, maybe more, as I said, preparing for interviews or going into maybe some speaking arrangements. But otherwise, I've really transitioned to using the visualization more. I guess it's probably what most people would think about when visualizing, right? So as I prepare for, say, some key presentations, or and involved in some sort of meeting in which I need to prepare and speak to material, I've used visualization to help me professionally, just again, feel more confident. See what, if I know what the room's going to look like, think about what the room's going to look like, think about how I'm going to feel in the room, think about how people are going to respond to the information I'm giving. Helps me make sure that I'm speaking to the audience in a way that is engaging to them and in a more compelling way. So it just, by visualizing it, it makes me more comfortable when the time comes to present whatever message I'm presenting.
Yeah, it's I love it. I know as we talk about power posing and visualizing and all this stuff, it can be one of those things that feels woo wooey and a little bit awkward and goofy. I say it's one of those things you just be like, just recognize that's going to feel like that, but that's okay. Just be like, get over it.
Well, because nobody know. Okay, if somebody walked in you were power posing, they would, might be like, all right, that's kind of strange. But I mean, the visualization, nobody knows that you're doing it, right? You can do it for a few minutes, you can do it for a longer period of time, you can just do it for 30 seconds, and you can be, I mean, probably sitting versus walking is better, but right, like I could just be sitting at my desk preparing to go into that meeting room, for example, and nobody's gonna know. So I think it's a really easy tool to use that doesn't need to feel awkward or make you look awkward, because it's just you in that moment.
I know. I agree. I love it. I love little things like that nobody like. It's going to feel awkward to you, and if it just feels awkward to you, well, you can learn to get over
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
agree.
So far you've talked about how you've helped it. The visualization has helped you professionally, and I know you and I were talking how you want to start because you see it working.
Yes,
Correct?
yes, it absolutely does. Um, it it just, I can see and feel it helping me with the confidence that sometimes can be lacking.
Yeah. So knowing all of that you've done it, you've used it, and you've gained confidence, and it's helped you professionally. I know that we're talking about how you want to start using it personally. And I think that's the step we want to make, or now you want to make, coming up in August.
Yes. Because it is powerful, and because it is, as you practice it more, like, you can really get into the specifics of like what the room is going to look like, or I really like that I can use it, and I can anticipate, like, if I'm getting ready to do a presentation, I can anticipate that I might get nervous, right? I can anticipate or even make myself get my breathing uneven, right? And so through the visualization, I know how my body's going to feel, right? I can mimic almost what my breath's going to do. And so through the visualization, I can calm myself down. And so that has been extremely helpful, just as I then start to present. Like, I start to feel my body getting some tense and a little bit nervous, and I feel my breathing, and instantly it can just calm me down. So I know that it can be very specific. And so I want to use it personally to just continue to help elevate my workouts. And I often hit snooze. So I'd like, and obviously I know our bedroom well. I can close our eyes and picture our bedroom and then the workout room in the basement. And so I want to begin using it to say, visualizing before I go to bed, hey, I'm going to set my alarm. When I set my alarm is set so I can wake up and work out. I'm going to get, as soon as I hear the music on my alarm go off, I see myself getting up, getting dressed, taking care of the dogs, heading downstairs, I'm working out. And when I head downstairs to work out, like, again, visualize it's a space I can go into and shut the door. You and Lane won't know if I work out or not. And so my intensity can vary, but it's like, all right, I'm going to use my visualization to feel, I'm going to feel that sweat. I'm going to feel fatigue. I'm going to feel my breathing, in this case, maybe getting a little bit challenged, but in a good way. So I think it will help me because it's been beneficial on the professional side. I believe it will help me, one, not hit snooze, because I want to jump into that feeling of getting that workout done. And two, I think it'll help increase the intensity each time of my workout, because basically I'm like, my brain thinks that's how I work out every time I bring it, right? The intensity is there. And
Right.
so let's use visualization so that I can then execute that.
Well, I think a couple things you said there that I love. You mentioned how you like to do it and make it very specific, and
Yeah.
I think that visualization, I think the more specific it is, the better, because if you're actually like, I like the specificity, because it's like, actually, because you could even do it like with certain workout moves. You'd be like, well, when I do this move, I'm going to do it with this kind of intensity and this kind of form. If you can get that specific and actually help you with that, and I love that, because it's just building that pathway, helping with that muscle memory, and the other thing is, you mentioned, is like, well, the idea is, like, we all know that the more you do something, the easier it gets.
Yep.
And visualizing something in your brain, it's like a brain hack, in the sense that your brain feels like you've done it several times. It's like, oh, I always get up and hit snooze. Well, the reality is, like, you hit snooze more than you don't, right? So you've done that,
Sure.
right? But you know what I'm saying? So you've done that so many times that you have to, like, you need every little bit of help you can do to do it the other way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It would take me years to beat that habit any other way, but with the visualization, I can speed it up.
Yeah. No, I know, which is what's so cool about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because, yes, I mean, since I remember having my first alarm clock, I probably hit snooze.
Well, and I'm not giving you a hard time. Because I we all do it, but it's like, that's the important part about visualization. It's like, hey, I'm going to do something different. The visualization helps me increase that, how long it takes me to get to be able to do that efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. I'm excited about it. I know that I do visualization, and you can tell me, you can feel me. I do a lot of visualization at night before, as we're trying to go to bed, because I know you can feel it when I'm over there practicing my moves and stuff. Which is, I
Yeah.
know it's weird. I know it's weird,
I'd
but
rather you practice visualization with your jujitsu moves than practice on me.
I agree. That's fair. But no, it's great. It's a really cool tool that I really enjoy. And I think it's got a lot of benefit, that it's very underutilized in business and everything. And as you said, and kind of what you said there about, like, the idea that you struggle on hitting snooze. I think that one applies to a lot of people, in the sense that we all know where our hangups are. We know where some of our problems are, areas, and where our hurdles are. And I think that a lot of people on toughness think that it's just saying, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I'm just gonna make it that doesn't happen. Well, it does happen, and the visualization helps you prepare for when it does happen. Well, how am I going to respond? And that's what I like about when you're talking about the breathing, and the and getting the nervous sweats, and when you feel that, you're like, oh, I already planned on how I'm going to respond to that, which is really cool.
Yes. Yeah. You yeah, it becomes more automatic. You don't have to, because if you're getting ready to do a presentation, or speak in front of a group, and you get nervous, and if you haven't practiced, and visualization is a form of practice, if you haven't done that, then you're probably going to make things worse versus better in the moment. So
Well, you know what? That's interesting that you said that, because what happens is, if you don't visualize doing it right, a lot of times our imagination has allowed us to visualize us doing it wrong, right? Oh, if somebody does this, I'm so nervous that I'm going to bumble my words, or I'm going to not being able to respond to a question. So we are visualizing doing it the wrong way when we allow our negative imagination to run wild. So we know it works, because we do it accidentally.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a great way to do it positively, do it the right way, like vision. Yeah, because when you visualize, you're very intentional, and you know what you want to visualize, right? And so it's all to the positive, it's all to the good. But when you let your brain just think, it's probably going to be to the negative. And so I think that's where, like, the more you do it. And the best part is some of our challenges so far this year are fairly time consuming, right? I think visualization, it doesn't, I mean, you can spend 15 minutes if you want, but heck, sometimes now it just helps me not get as nervous, maybe going into different meetings or presentations, but I'll still just pause for like 30 seconds, right? And just do a little bit of a check-in with myself. Or, sometimes I'll have longer, and I'll spend, but the time can vary. And I think that's the beautiful part, is hopefully people are willing to try this, because it could take as little as 30 seconds or 2 minutes of their time.
Yeah. It's literally something you can do in minutes here.
Yes.
And yeah, I agree.
And multiple
and
times
you don't,
a day on different
and that's just what I was going to say. You don't have to do it just once. It can be like, every time you want to hit that little confidence boost and feel good about doing something right, you just stop and do a little visualization, and you keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's good stuff. I'm so glad that that's something that you started to add into your repertoire, and now I'm excited about August, about how you're going to use that a little bit more personally.
We go on vacation, and some of them are hikes. Maybe I first need to start visualizing successful completion of the hikes that Lynn picks out.
Well, I know. No, I think we'll be all right. But yeah, you have to be able to. You do kind of get your mind around it. Some of the hikes that our son Lane picks, you gotta have your head around it before we take off.
Yeah, so maybe I'll visualize safe completion or successful completion of those.
Well, as we, I know we're getting into the details here, but as we go to the Grand Tetons, maybe you might have to visualize how to pull your bear spray and
quickly.
quickly and how am I going to react if a grizzly bear steps out? That's a whole nother level.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I might need a separate session.
we might have to think about it that a little bit as we drive out there. We'll
Kill
talk
some
about it.
time.
So, okay, Dana, thank you very much for joining on and talking about this. I appreciate it because I know it's something that's really helped you, and I appreciate that.
Yep. Glad to share.
Thank you much.
All right. See ya.
Mm-hmm. Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they could still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great, they're necessary, but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mental Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website, get started on the journey to a more confident, successful athlete with Mental Mettle Coaching. Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Thomann, at Mental Mettle Coaching. So that's how my wife is planning to use some visualization in the month of August, and I plan to be right there with her. That's some of the ways that I'm going to use visualization coming up. I've told you how I use it and how I, have used it in the past, but I'm going to go another level what I'm doing. So the month of August, I have some big speaking engagements coming up. I've been pretty busy lately working with coaches, working with athletes, but I've got a couple speaking engagements coming up that are they're big for me. They're the next level for me. I'm going to be talking to a lot of people. There's one I'm going to start working with a university out in Nebraska, Midland University, and I'm going to go out and work with their entire staff. Now, Midland University is known for having almost every sport known to any school, which is kind of a cool thing. So it's really fun for me to be working with that school. So I'm not even sure how many coaches that's going to be, but it's going to be a lot, dozens and dozens of college coaches in a room and listening to me. And, that's anxious. The negative voice can take over on that. Why would they listen to me? What do I know? But I'm going to visualize. I'm going to start practicing visualization on how I'm going to do that. It's going to be a little bit of a flight. I'm flying out there. I plan to use the flight to visualize how I'm going to talk to them, how I'm going to act, how I'm going to be, and I'm going to visualize myself doing this well. And then at a different time, I'm going back to that same university, and I'm going to speak to all 900 or so of their athletes. And that's a different audience, but that's going to be a big audience, big auditorium, big gym. And again, that can be a tough audience for that age. Just whether that, how they're going to view me, if they're going to feel like I'm worth their time or not. So it's something that I've I'm feeling a little anxiety about, but I'm going to go through, have all my slides, my presentations, and have, the words I want to say, practice, of course, but not just that, visualize how I'm going to speak, how I'm going to move, how I'm going to act, and how I want my voice to sound. The more specific that we can get with our visualizations, I think the better. Both of these situations, and me doing a lot of speaking, there can be some things that happen, but for the most part, it's going to be fairly set routine on what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, the exercises I'm going to teach them, so it's going to be pretty set, so I can practice all of it. And I really like that. So that's my goal for August. And I've got a couple other places I'm speaking and doing some stuff. So I'm going to really start doing more visualization as I get ready to speaking engagements. And I'm going to continue to use it in the way that I do it, and feeling confident using it with my jujitsu. I love that. It's one of my favorite ways to use visualization. I'm going to do that. What I want from you is find a way to add some visualization in your life. And if you don't know where to put it, where to start doing it, I would start with anywhere that you feel like you have a little bit of trepidation, a little bit of anxiety, a task, something that you need to do that you're not sure how it's going to go. And I mean, if you don't have anything that gives you any anxiety or any trepidation, then we need to do a whole nother podcast about how you challenging yourself, because I think you should have some things in your life that are challenging you. So find something that's challenging you, and then start to visualize the act, the actions, and not only that, but how you want to act and feel in those moments. Those are things that you can start to trigger those positive pathways before it even happens. And I think that it's so useful. So some of the ways that you can do that, and you can employ that visualization in your life. One, set up a time to do it. Do some daily practice where you do some mental imagery. And honestly, I talked to you how I'm going to do some of this, but I'm going to use a little bit of prayer with mine. I think that goes really well. You can pray about doing something well, and then imagining yourself doing it and asking for guidance to do that. I think that's just great tools, but you have to, it doesn't matter what we do. It's the number one thing of all these things that I've done is that you have to have time. You have to put time to do it. Just listening to the podcast and realizing that's a thing doesn't help you. You have to practice it. If you don't practice it, you don't get any better at it. So practice the visualization and then start using it. That's number one. Another one, make sure as you do it, and I mentioned this, engage as many senses as you can. So the more you can, like if you got a big event coming, like I'll know what I'm going to be wearing. So I know what I'm going to look like, what it's going to feel like, how I want to act. And I can start to see all those things so that when I look down at my shoes during the presentation, I'll be like, I've been here before, right? Because in my mind I have. I think that can really help. I've worked with athletes who will go and look at football stadiums, basketball gyms that they've never been in before, and go look at it online so they know what it'll look like and put that in their visualization. I'm sure I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to go speak in this auditorium with all those 900 kids, and it's something I'm going to do. I'm going to go visualize. I'm going to go online and look at what that gym looks like and visualize it so I've been there before in my mind. It's just really helpful. And then not only your five senses, but just the embodiment. Most of us know the difference between negative embodiments we have and positive embodiments we have. So negative ones are like we got, the butterflies in your stomach, or nervousness in your arms, or whatever it feels like to you. We don't want that, right? So I can go in and start talking about, well, how do I want to feel as I go in? I want to feel very confident. I want to feel like my chest is up. I want to feel like my arms are whatever it feels like to you. We don't want that, right? So I can go in and start talking about, well, how do I want to feel as I go in? I want to feel very confident. 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 I want to feel I want to feel light, right? You can visualize these feelings as well, but you have to practice them. So we go back to that daily practice. The other thing is have your goals, have your goals. Like when we're talking about golf or shooting a free throw or running a race or anything like that, we know what they are, right? We want to make the free throw. We want to hit the drive down the center, but we need to know your outcomes. So set your outcomes. Have a plan. My goal out there is to go out there, speak clearly, communicate my message, right? Have these goals, know how I want to be and feel confident and be done and feel happy about what I've put out there and know that I've helped people. Know that outcome ahead of time and start to plan it. And that's what I plan to do. And then occasionally, sometimes we can do some actual physical visualization with it. Like my wife was talking about, it doesn't have to be long. So I do think that it's a good idea. I've worked with athletes, again, the golfers, where they have time in between each hole and they can visualize. Is no longer than it takes to visualize a golf swing is the same amount of time that you can get ready to be ready for a golf swing. So that you can actually close your eyes and visualize you hitting it down the fairway before you actually hit it, right? Step up there, see where it's going to go, visualize it. And if you've practiced it before, it's going to help. You're locking in that muscle memory, those neurons, those positive feelings, right? So you practice it at home and you get there, you practice the visualization, then you just go do it. And the more you do it, your brain just gets practice at it and gets better at it. Again, I don't know how you want to use visualization, but I know you need to use visualization. I don't know of anyone who can't use visualization in some way, shape, or form. It's a physical thing, but it's also a mental thing, and it's good for everybody. And just go check it out. There are so many ways to use visualization. It is a fantastic tool. You should be doing it as a coach, as a player, as a human. You should be using visualization. It's free money. It is a brain hack. I mean, it's silly not to use it. The only reasons I could think of not to do it is just because you think it feels awkward or you think it's silly and your ego gets in the way. And those just aren't good reasons, period. So get over that, practice some visualization, put it in for the month. And listen, I'm growing. The podcast is growing. I'm getting more viewers, more listeners. When I'm putting some stuff out there, whenever this one comes out this month, I'm going to put some stuff out there and ask some questions. How are you using visualization? I love everyone to start making comments. Like, how are you using it? How do you see it? What do you want to do with it? I'd love to get a little discussion going when I post some stuff on Facebook, Twitter, those things. I'd love to get it out there because I think this is a skill that everybody needs to be practicing. So as it comes out there, be looking for it and find a way to make some comments, and we'll do that. So again, thank you to everyone for listening. The podcast is growing and I have you guys to thank for that, and I appreciate that. So thank you so much for liking, sharing, commenting, all those things. I sure appreciate it. This has been the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann. Always remember to forge your metal. Thanks for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast. Don't forget to tune in every week for more insights and strategies to help you forge mental toughness and resilience. This podcast is brought to you by Mental Mettle Coaching, where we are driven by a passion for sharing knowledge and experience that empowers others to play, live, and grow with confidence. Our mission is to instill a resilient and spirited mindset in our clients, enabling them to confidently face adversity and actively seek new challenges for personal growth. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we offer individual coaching, group coaching, and professional development for schools and businesses. Whether you're an athlete, educator, or professional, we're here to help you unlock your potential and thrive in every area of life. Until next time, keep growing, stay resilient, and always remember to forge your metal.